Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video lecture, I'll be reading and analyzing a very different ghost story written by the famous modernist writer Virginia Woolf. And the name of the story is A Haunted House. This short story is not the typical kind of ghost story that we, come across. But instead we find as we read it that it is quite different in its subject matter, it's quite different in its structure as well, and there we find how Virginia Woolf has departed from the conventional form and structure of a ghost story, which makes this text stand out as a unique ghost story. So let's start reading as well as analyzing the short story. As the story begins, we find that the narrator informs us that no matter what time of the day it is, one could always hear doors and windows opening and shutting down at the same time. And it is also informed that there is someone, who is simply moving around the house from room to room. And they are lifting here, opening there, making sure. And who is it? It is a ghostly couple. So from in the very beginning of the story, we are introduced to the supernatural element in the story that is represented by the ghostly couple, who simply move about the house hand in hand, which shows that, how much they are close to each other and, how much they care for each other. So what they do, they simply move about the house, they move to each room as if they are looking for something mysterious. They are hunting for something. And then the narrator, although the ghostly couple is not perceptible, the ghostly couple cannot be seen by the narrator, and we can assume that the narrator is a woman. So she says that though I cannot see them, but I can sense it. I can sense their presence in the house because I find them saying that here we left it, oh, but he had to it upstairs, she murmured, and in the garden he whispered quietly, they said, or we shall wake them. So here we understand that the ghostly couple is not at all malevolent, rather they appear to be quite benevolent, because they don't seem to have any intention to harm the new couple or the living residents, the new residents who are living in this house. So this house is haunted, and it is haunted by this ghostly couple, as we come to know from the narrator. And then she says that it is very much clear the way they move around the house, the way they simply go through the content, go through the things in the house. It is clear that they are looking for something, and what that something is not yet revealed. And then the narrator says that while she was reading a book, after having heard their conversation, so what she does, she again begins reading her book in order to allow them to continue their search. And then she finds that the couple is quite familiar with the house, because the way they talk, the way they converse with each other, it is clear from their conversation that they are aware of the nook and corner, every nook and corner of the house. They are looking for it, they are drawing the curtain, And then one might say, and so read on a page or two. Now they have found it. So somehow the narrator feels that maybe they have found what they were looking for. And then what she does, she says that then maybe someone, maybe whatever is, it should be noted here that these actions are all carried out by the narrator herself. And she says then after this, one would be certain that stopping the pencil on the margin, and then tired of reading, one might rise and see for oneself that the house appears to be all empty. The doors are widely open. Only she could only hear the noise of the wood pigeons as well as the noise of the threshing machine. But she is very much able, to feel through her sensory perceptions that somebody is there in the house. And after that, what did I come in here for? What did I want to find? My hands were empty. Perhaps it's upstairs then. The apples were in the loft, and so down again. The garden still as ever, only the book had slipped into the grass. So the narrator was reading a book, and after that, when she left the book behind in order to find out, she finds that the house is all empty, the doors are all open. And then she says that, what did I come in here for? So what was I looking for? And here a comparison, you can say, or a parallel is drawn between the narrator and the ghosts, because they are also looking for something, just as the narrator is also saying looking for something. Perhaps it's upstairs then. But then she says that maybe it's upstairs what I was looking for. But then she finds only the apples, and so down again, the garden still as ever, only the book had slipped into the grass. So when she couldn't find anything upstairs excepting the apples, she thought that they must have, the couple, they must have gone down, and the garden as still ever. This is significant because it shows that the garden is still in the same state in which it was left by the couple, the way it was many years ago. But they had found it in the drawing room. So when the narrator finds that the ghostly couple has slipped into the drawing room, so she says that not that one could ever see them. So she says that, she informs us that she could never see them. They were imperceptible. But what she could only see was the reflected, she could only see the reflected roses, apples, and the leaves. So if they moved in the drawing room, so the apple only turned its yellow side. So this is the physical evidence, an indication that the couple, they have been to the drawing room, because it is from the movement of the apple that the narrator could understand. So it is a kind of indication, it is a kind of physical evidence. But then immediately after that moment, she found that the door was opened. The shadow of a thrush crossed the carpet. From the deepest wells of silence, the wood pigeon drew its bubble of sound. So, although the narrator was never able to see the ghostly couple, she could only, she could only see the flitting shadow of a thrush, of a bird, or she could only see the wood pigeons, she could only hear the wood pigeons sound. And then this sentence, this refrain, you will find that it will be repeated in the text. Safe, safe, the pulse of the house beat softly. The treasure buried the room. The pulse stopped short. Oh, was that the buried treasure? Again, these lines are very significant because this refrain, safe, 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 it shows, it indicates that this house is a place of comfort. This house is a place of, safety. And that is told by the pulse of the house. If the house is, described to have a pulse, it means the house represents a living creature. which has a heart, and heart symbolizes nothing but love. So we can say here, we can analyze this line and say that the house has, safely protected or preserved the love of the ghostly couple. The treasure buried the room. The pulse stopped short. Oh, was that the buried treasure? It is a realization on the part of the narrator, where she realizes that the treasure or the mysterious thing that the couple was looking for, it is very much there in the house, and it was buried along with them in this house, which, something which they could access only when they were alive. But now, since they are dead, it is not possible for them to access that mysterious thing. So that underlines the futility of the search that is being done, or that is being carried out by the ghostly couple. And after that, suddenly the light had faded out in the garden then. So now the narrator, when she finds that the light in the house has faded, she feels that maybe they have now moved out in the garden. Beam I sought, so fine, so rare, coolly sunk beneath the surface. The beam I sought always burned behind the glass. So here again we find that the search continues on the part of the ghostly couple, which makes clear that they have still not been able to find out the treasure. So that is why they have moved out in the garden to look for their treasure. And now the narrator here says that she has been, looking for light. She has been looking for beam, and beam here represents light. Death was the glass. Death was between us. So now here the narrator says that although I tried, to seek light, I always sought a beam, that it means the light that I sought always burnt behind the glass. So what is this glass? This glass is nothing but death. So death is the glass that separates the narrator from the ghostly couple. Death was between us. So what she means, or what she implies here, is that she could never see them. Why? Because death stood between them. So death is the barrier between the narrator and the ghostly couple. And now we find that the narrator, recounts the story of this ghostly couple, where she informs the readers that the woman first. So she first begins to talk about the woman, and she says that it was hundreds of years ago that when she died, and when she died, she left the house, leaving the house, sealing all the windows, the rooms were darkened. So what she means to say, that when the woman died, the entire house got darkened. Darkness descended in this house. And when she says that death was the glass, which means that the narrator tried to communicate with the ghostly couple, but what is that factor that prevented her from communicating or from interacting with the ghostly couple to form an emotional connection or interaction with them? It is death. So we can say death is the line between them. Death is the barrier between the narrator and the ghostly couple. So she says that when the woman died, the entire house got darkened, the rooms were darkened. So darkness can be associated with death, or we can say that darkness symbolizes death. So he left her, went north, went east, saw the stars turned in the southern sky, sought the house, found it dropped beneath the downs, Safe, 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 the pulse of the house beat gladly, the treasure yours. After the death of the woman, the man became lonely. And so he went out. He left the house behind and he went on traveling, traveling along from one place to another. But here, a very important point that is made by Woolf is that our connection to our house, to our home, is so deep, is so profound that we always get pulled towards our home. And that happened with this man as well. He couldn't continue traveling for a long time. He had to come back. So he sought the house. He came back to his house. And when he came back, he heard that safe, 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 the pulse of the house beat gladly. And again he was told by the pulse of the house that it is safe. So what it is that is safe in the house? The treasure that is yours. And here the word treasure represents the love, joy and happiness of the couple, which their house has preserved for all these years, even after the house was left behind by the ghostly couple. And now a very important contrast is made between the house and the atmosphere outside, the weather outside. As I said, that the house here symbolizes a place for safety, comfort, warmth. While on the outside, we find that outside the house, the weather is very stormy, wild and chaotic. It's disturbing. While one can, enjoy the warmth of the house inside, one can, in the light of the lamp, one can enjoy the coziness of the house. So that contrast is made by Woolf, showing that when she writes these lines, the wind roars up the avenue, which means the weather outside is very, very stormy and chaotic. Trees stoop and bend this way and that. Moonbeams splash and spill wildly in the rain, but the beam of the lamp falls straight from the window. Whispering not to wake us, the ghostly couple seek their joy. So inside the house there is complete comfort, safety and joy. And the ghostly couple, what they are doing in the house? They are seeking their joy. So it becomes clear that the joy of the couple is connected to their home. And here Woolf makes it clear that how the house, is how our house is important, or how our house is connected to our happiness. And then the conversation takes place again between the husband and the wife, and where they say that, here we slept, she says, and he adds, kisses without number, waking in the morning, silver between the trees, upstairs, in the garden, when summer came, in winter snow time, the doors go shutting far in the distance, gently knocking like the pulse of a heart. So this particular paragraph informs readers that the couple is, recollecting the memories of their life, and they also recollect, the several places in the house where they spent quality time with each other. That they woke up in the morning and upstairs in the garden, that they did something in the garden, they spent their time in the garden. So the way that we find the couple recollecting the memories of their past life simply, tells us that this house is as connected, is associated, or it, embodies their love, their joy, their happiness. And it is a place, it is a place which has kept their joy this very house has kept their joy, their happiness, their love, everything intact even after their death. So it also becomes clear to us that they are very it conveys to readers their familiarity with the house as well. So after this, nearer they come. So the living now the who are the living residents in the house, the new couple. So they are sleeping. So the wind falls, the rain slides silver down the glass, our eyes darken, we hear no steps beside us. So the narrator says, though we do not hear any steps, but we see no lady, but we also do not find any lady, spreading her cloak. But one thing what I can understand is that the hands of the man covered the lantern in order to create a shadow. Look, he breathes, sound asleep, love upon their lips. So now we find the ghostly couple approaching the new couple who are sleeping, who are lying on their bed, and they come close to them, and the man says, sound asleep, love upon their lips. So what he means to say by this, that even they shared the same love that the ghostly couple had for each other, shared with each other when they were alive. Stooping, holding their silver lamp above us. Long they look and deeply. So now we find the ghostly couple gazing at them, staring at them constantly. Okay, and their faces bent, their faces pondering. So they are, watching them, coming close to them, and for some time that search the sleepers and seek their hidden joy. So what the couple is trying to do, they are trying to find their love in the new couple, the sleepers, which refer to the sleeping couple. So they are trying to find their hidden joy, their treasure in the sleeping couple, because now this house where they used to live has been occupied by the new couple. So just as once upon a time they lived in this house and they loved each other, so now their place seemed to be replaced by the new couple who seem to have the who has the same feelings, same love for each other. So we find how the couple how the couple tries to identify with the new couple, and they also find that the kind of love that they had for each other is also shared by the new couple living in their house. So basically, we find that the couple finally succeeds in finding that mysterious thing, in finding their treasure, their love in the new couple who has replaced them in this house. So it is a kind of continuity, and here we find how Woolf has also created a bond between the dead and the living, and that is very important. That is a very important point in the story, because Woolf says that death is not the end of everything, and for her death means a new form of existence, a new kind of existence. So as far as the ghostly couple is concerned, we can find that how they have got reunited, how after they are dead. So they seem to have a life beyond the grave, they seem to have a life beyond their death. And here also, although it is not possible for them to enjoy the excitement, to enjoy the richness of life, which was very much there when they were alive, but still we find that their connection, their profound connection to the house, their attachment to the house helps them find their love in the living couple. So basically it can be said that their love continues to live through this living couple, and it is the house which has preserved their love, their joy, happiness for so many years, even after their death. So although the narrator is alive and the couple is dead, but still we find how love comes in to unite the dead or and the living, to create a kind of connection between the dead and the living. So that's why Woolf says that love is something which is able to overcome all barriers. Love can not only overcome all sorts of obstacles, but at the same time love has the power to even survive the harsh effects of time, the ravages of time. And here in this short story that becomes very, very clear. And not only that, in the final paragraph where we find that the activities which the couple was involved in the past are those activities that are now being performed by the narrator. So basically what it implies is that there was a time hundreds of years ago when this house was occupied by the ghostly couple, and now when they are dead after so many years, their house is inhabited by a new couple. And it is not just the house that is inhabited, but is not just the house that is inhabited by the new couple, but it seems that they are also living the same life of love like the ghostly couple, the one which they had enjoyed when they were alive, the way they used to roam about in the house, the way they used to read books in the garden, sleep on the bed, laugh with each other. So those actions, those activities are now being carried out by the new living couple in their house. So they find their love in this new couple, and that makes or let's say that lends eternity or a sense of continuity to their love story, or it also lends eternity to love, because love knows no bounds. Nothing can stop love from blooming. And with this we come to the end of discussion of this short story, A Haunted House. I hope you liked the lecture and you find it helpful. So please do, if you like it, do press the like button, share it, and do not forget to give your valuable comments in the section below, so that I can improve my channel for the benefit of all my viewers. Until then, bye bye.